Instagram and Facebook. About to go live on TikTok here. Good there. What's going on, the Real Hokey Pride? How you doing, bro? Happy Friday to you and everybody joining me in on the live. I appreciate all you guys. I'm just waiting for all the platforms to get up here. Just waiting to see on TikTok so I can get going on this bad boy. It's not showing. Do you guys offer TRT? So yes, so George X, we do offer HRT, TRT, peptides, injectable amino acids and vitamins, libido enhancers, blood work nationwide. So we service everybody nationwide. So wherever you guys are at, however we can help you guys, we are here for you guys. So, look better, feel better, and perform better. That's what we want to do for you guys. And improve quality of life with health as the number one priority in this whole thing that we're doing for you guys. So TikTok, I don't see TikTok up yet. Let's see, these guys are up. What's good? So George X, are you interested in TRT, HRT? Can you be on TRT and HRT at the same time? So it's a good question. Honestly, HRT and TRT to me are the exact same thing. And the reason I say this, you can have TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy, and that's just replacing testosterone. But when we start just replacing testosterone, we got to remember that it doesn't end there. It goes in a different path into different roads. So at that point, you need to know where these things are going. And one to two that you should really know about are estradiol, which is the estrogen conversion for testosterone. And then we talk about DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone. So these are very important things that this testosterone converts into. So, and they can change the game of what's going on with you and your body and all these other things. So when we talk about HRT, we talk about really hormone replacement therapy, balancing all the hormones to make sure everything is right. And when you do something like that, you're going to get optimal results with minimal to no side effects. If you just replace testosterone for a majority of guys out there, they're going to have problems. And the problems they're going to have is their estrogen is going to run high, right? And at that point, when it runs high, then you're going to get the real negative side effects you do not want to deal with when you're on testosterone. One, water retention. Water retention is not going to make you look good. So instead of nice, defined muscle tone, right? You're talking about round looking, soft. You don't want to look like that. Nobody wants to look like that. And, for the people out there that really want to see people in public, because I can tell nowadays, it's like who's on, who's off, what they're taking as far as are they on an estrogen blocker or not. Usually it's the water retention. The face is very round. They call it tomato head, juice head. That's where it comes from. And at that point, their body doesn't look as tight as it should. It looks like it has high estrogen and water retention. So, that's one thing. Now, with water retention comes other things. So water retention can increase blood pressure, and blood pressure being raised is going to cause a whole bunch of other negative side effects. So that's just the water retention, one negative side effect from high estrogen. Two, irritability and sensitivity. So becoming more short fused. That roid rage really doesn't come from testosterone. It comes from high estrogen levels usually. And at that point, it's just like a female kind of being on her period, that monthly thing. And at that point, being short, being irritable, and not being yourself. The other thing is that it could cause gynecomastia. So at that point, when high estrogen levels are there, that grows tissue. That's why you don't just want to completely take out estrogen either. You need to have a harmonic balance with the hormones. So with that, you want to make sure that you have this dialed in and not going too high. So usually aromatase inhibitor goes along with testosterone. And then you want to talk about gonadal support, which we're talking about making sure the testicles are staying where they need to be aesthetically, not shrinking, not becoming tight and uncomfortable to you, and you not producing, the semen production you should, right? And cutting off natural testosterone. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you start dealing with when you start inserting testosterone in the body in any way, form, in any way, shape, or form, or transportation rate. So just think about that, and we could talk about this more as you guys go, but I just want to talk about that and let you guys know about it. You're welcome, George. So I have the same problem right now, only test replacement. So that's the problem. So showbiz, you guys can transfer care to us, or listen, if you guys are getting your testosterone, let's say from your urologist or general practitioner, and you're getting it covered through insurance, awesome. But most of the time, those guys will not write the aromatase inhibitor that you need or the gonadal support. So if you just need the add-ons per se, you can come to us just for the add-ons. If you want to transfer total care, we can do that too as well. It's just totally up to you guys. I just want to make sure you guys have that option out there and you guys know about that option. Not just saying, well, to come to Titan, I have to be on testosterone replacement to do any of their other things. No, that's not true. And if you're on testosterone replacement prescribed by a real doctor and coming from a real U.S. licensed pharmacy, and you cannot get the necessary components to go with this to make this complete, then we can help you out there, and we'll help dial you in and make sure you guys are good to go. And you guys are living optimal, feeling optimal. And if you guys are saving $1 or $2 by getting maybe your testosterone covered by insurance, awesome. I'm cool with that. I always want to give you guys the best bang for the buck. Do you guys do growth hormone? So, Junior B. Scar. So, we don't do growth hormone. It's highly regulated, and it's not even a controlled substance. So we'd say, oh, well, why it's really highly regulated like this? It's really expensive, but the DEA is not like this being written or does not want this written per se for anything like anti-aging, recovery, like any of these things. It has to be used what it was FDA approved for, so it's kind of messed up. But at that point, there are other things that work pretty damn good right underneath it, and you would save on the money portion of it. And that would be testosterone. And testosterone is FDA approved. And it's a GHRH peptide. So it's a growth hormone releasing hormone peptide. And it also has another great thing that it does. It actually targets visceral belly fat. So the bad fat on the body. So this is great, right? This is a game changer all the way through and through. Can you go up a little bit on that? I'll be in contact. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, George. And then Jay Martin said, Good Friday. Good Friday. Been on my Hercules potion and L-carnitine for about 2 weeks. Top-notch workouts with this stuff. Love it. Thank you, guys. Jay Martin, this is awesome, dude. So great combinations here. Obviously, Hercules potion has 9 different components doing a whole bunch of different things in a lot of different aspects. The one thing you'll notice about Hercules potion right off the get-go, first injection, is the instant gratification that you get with the muscle pump and how long it stays. So if you inject it, let's say your deltoid, it still works systemically through the body. We're going to get these pumps. But if you do site inject, let's say biceps, triceps, chest, deltoids, whatever it is, you'll feel more instant gratification in those areas. But there's a lot of other benefits that come along with Hercules potion. So I would check that out, or if you guys want to know about it, I'll explain it. L-carnitine, obviously, listen, at 500 milligrams per ml, I'm pretty sure that's what he's getting. You're talking about a lot of great things, a lot of great benefits from this amino acid alone. And we're talking about one, nervous system. We want that to be firing in all ways, shapes, and forms and going right. 2, it helps with energy production. And 3, we talk about the androgen receptors and helping absorb those androgens and helping coincide basically and help absorb them. So it's really, really cool stuff. If you want to hop on but can't request, Austin, we'll do it. Let's set up for a future date. And big shout out to my brother Drew. He's not here, obviously, and Titan Lifestyle is usually with me and Big Drew. I might be out sometimes traveling or doing business, and he'll do the show by himself. He's sick today, so I cover for him. That's how we do it. And, we miss Big Drew. He'll be back next week, though. He's starting to feel better. He's on some antibiotics, and bad stuff's going around here. So just make sure you guys are staying safe. All right, so other than diet and pumping iron, what would you recommend for lean mass for a 25-year-old 2 years in? Okay, so other than diet and pumping iron, so definitely water, definitely sleeping. I want to make sure those are good. And if you have those 4 pillars per se, then let's talk about what else is going on. So are you still gaining, progressively gaining, right? Because 25 years old, that's a quarter of a century. You're like, hey, I was really, really good at 21, but I might not be as progressively getting better in these 2 years that I think I should be getting. And then we want to really talk about blood testing, right? Then we can X out if there is anything that is deficient or on the lower end that might be holding you back. But if that all comes back good, and you should be doing blood checks anyway, no matter if you're on anything or not. Let's get that clear. But I would do the blood check, see what's going on. Nothing's going on. Or let's say IGF-1 levels aren't what they should, right? Testosterone might be a good one. But lean mass, Hercules potion is an all-natural blend of amino acids that we were just talking about. That will help you do more work in the gym, right? Longer sets, higher reps, more weight. This ultimately should equal out to you gaining lean mass as long as your nutrition is correct and you're eating enough calories to be able to do this. Other than that, I really wouldn't mess in with anything unless your levels are on the lower end or deficient. If you come back, let's say at an 800 total testosterone and 18 and you're free from LabCorp, 18 to 20. I mean, I think that's a pretty good level for your age. And at that point, that maybe you should stay on that level until it starts going down, maybe, in the 5s and 4s. But if there's a problem, then you should definitely seek it out. All right, so Showbiz says, I'm with my urologist on TRT, and I have a Remedex already, but still doesn't feel right. Okay, so does it feel like you're having the symptoms, like water retention, irritability, sensitivity, maybe some erectile dysfunction issues? Because this is something we need to look at. Now, what I would say is blood test. Blood test just total and free testosterone ranges, and blood test your estradiol ranges. What this is going to tell you is where you're at. And then you can see where the level's at. Because, totally honest with you, I don't know how much Remedex you're taking and how much testosterone you're taking. So, with that being said, that maybe your estrogen is too low. Maybe the Remedex is working too good, and maybe it's not high enough dose of testosterone. Or maybe it's a reverse effect where the estrogen is too high and you have these negative side effects. There's side effects on low, too low, and there's negative side effects on too high. That's why I always say about harmonic balance, not just replacing one and not worrying about the others. It's really, really crazy how that works. Let's see. Been on tirzepatide for about 2 weeks now. I'm down 12 pounds so far, but I have a very little appetite. Should I be worried that I'm barely eating it, or should I force feed myself? Okay, all right, so this is kind of like a rock and a hard place situation here, where tirzepatide is a great GLP-1 and GIP drugs. It has two main components that are actively working to do a couple things. One is to curb your appetite, which is happening to him, which we know the drug is working. This is awesome. It works for everybody, almost. I would say, I don't want to say everybody because there might be some small percentage of people it's not. So, not for us, we're having great results. But with this, you're losing weight. Now, depending on how much weight you want to lose, and how much you weigh at this time. Now, if you don't weigh a lot, I would definitely, if you're trying to lean up, let's say for a competition per se, or something like that, I would definitely be getting my protein in, and I would be weight training. Either way, if I was taking these drugs myself, I would definitely try to hit my protein goal in that day with a little bit of fiber, because protein can balance some people up, and just try to get that in as much as possible. Whether it's through liquid or eating, I would definitely try to get it in. And you might not hit the 2,000 calories, but if you're in a deficit and you're trying to go down, that's what's going to happen. But you definitely want to hit those protein goals, and you definitely want to be weight training. You want to get as much muscle as possible. Now, if you feel like, hey, listen, I'm losing too much, then that's when you kind of go back to a maintenance dose, and you're not hitting it as hard. But listen, if you're on a program where you're really trying to lose weight, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and up pounds, then you really need to stay on it, and you need to do that. And you need to try to hit the protein and actively do weight training. I see a lot of people that want to lose weight and take these drugs. They don't eat no protein, which is a bad thing, right? And they don't exercise. In my mind, they do just cardiovascular activity because they think they just want to burn fat. The problem with this is they're also burning muscle because they're not eating and they're doing a lot of cardiovascular activity. And at that point, they're burning through a lot of calories, and their body is going to look like that. So the skin might sag more, right? You don't look as good. You might be a skinny fat person too, and that's not good either. Like, the whole point of this drug is to get you into a healthy lifestyle. Now, you're saying, I am in a healthy lifestyle. I'm doing cardiovascular activity. I'm eating hardly any calories, so I'm going to die a deficient calorie deficit. And at that point, you got to look at them and say, listen, we at least need to get some nutrition in here, and we need to get some weight training in there. So, yeah, I would definitely look at that. Down 12 pounds. That's awesome. How much do you want to lose, Dave? I want to know that, too. Currently on RUT test. Root test. I do not know what that is. I'm sorry. I apologize. As 21-420. What are hormones? What are the hormones in HRT? Are these men's supplements? So we do men and women hormone replacement therapy, and both men and women have the exact same hormones in their body, just at different levels. And they need to be optimized to that or brought back to healthy levels, whether they're male or female, and these can attribute to different hormones for both. So, we talk about the main ones that get prescribed for both possibly would be testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, anti-estrogens, pregnenolone. There's a couple different ones out there. So at that point, clomiphene, there's some different things. So that's really what it is. YG Lee, what's up? How you doing? And Tom Dollar, my girlfriend did Noom for a year and lost 0 pounds. Started on tirzepatide from Titan last week, down 6 pounds. Boom. That's awesome. Yeah, so, Tom, it's crazy, there's these big companies out there, these big hedge fund backed companies, and they did things like Noom, and there's some other ones like that, and I see a lot of people that haven't got really good results. There might be some people that got some good results. I don't know, but, it doesn't work for a majority of people. And that's been the problem before these GLP-1s arrived. We had some therapies like ECAs and stuff like that, or HCG, and you're going to calorie deficit, where people would lose some weight. But, it wouldn't be almost a guaranteed thing, right? There was no FDA-approved studies on this saying that this is definitely going to make you lose weight, and this is how much weight you're going to lose over this amount of time. So, when you're overweight, and a lot of overweight people feel like this, and I still think they feel like this today, even though we're approaching we are at the highest number of obese and overweight people in our country and around the world. I think that obese and overweight people really do want to lose the weight. I just don't think that some of them are disciplined enough or don't have the education enough to do it. So at that point, they've tried every fad diet. They've tried, every training, every, food company out there, and they just haven't got good results. And that could be for a number of different things. It could be hormone driven, right? And some of it is that I've seen, or it could just be, listen, they're not strict on their diet, and they're just hormone, they're emotional eaters, and they start eating, or that's just what they do, and it just is what it is. So it's a vicious cycle. So when these drugs arrived, it was like, because these drugs work for a majority of people out there, and it helps them lose weight. Even if their hormones are not dialed in, I've seen people where testosterone's not dialed in. Now, they might not retain as much muscle either because of that, but at that point, we might not feel good energy-wise, because tirzepatide, semaglutide, it does, from patients, because I don't take it, I don't need it, but what patients tell me is that, basically, they get good energy from the drug itself. So I'm like, that's a win. No stimulants. It's great for cardiovascular health. It's great for kidney health. All these different things are coming out with it. So, hey, listen, I'm all for it, and I'm glad she's getting the results, and I'm glad all of our other patients are getting results. I'm glad there's something for people out there that we can really recommend and really stand behind and be like, hey, listen, this is really helping people. All right, YG Lee said, would someone feel better on a lower dose of clomiphene than a higher dose? Since I was on a higher dose, would raise E2 higher than a lower dose? So this is how you got to determine that, YG. If you were on a lower dose, how did you feel? And how do you feel on the higher dose? Now, I understand the conversion to E2, estradiol. But that's what happens with testosterone. And, guys are on testosterone, they have to take an aromatase inhibitor, and, they're not going to want to lower their dose. So it's really where you feel good at. And if that number correlates with it, awesome, right? If you feel good at 700, great. 800, great. But if you don't feel good, then what's the point of taking it anyway? I would rather take the clomiphene along with an aromatase inhibitor. And usually aromatase inhibitors free up more testosterone too for you. So what's the goal, right? Do we want to get more testosterone? But who cares about how high testosterone is? Let's talk about how you feel. That's really what it comes down to. Concentrated. Yeah, gained 30 pounds in 6 months, my goal. I'm very lean and trying to bulk. That's awesome. 30 pounds in 6 months. Whew. That's good. That's a good amount of weight, dude, for sure. That's a good amount of weight in a year. Screw 6 months. Jeez. If you could gain 60 pounds in a year, document that, because that's something for sure. Still have higher symptoms of estrogen. So with that, I would definitely test and see where you're at, so you have it on paper. And, like I said, it could be a couple points over. It could be a lot over, Just make sure you know where it's at and just see where it's going on. How does nutrition and recovery play a role in strength gains when training with low frequency? How does nutrition and recovery play a role in strength gains when training with low frequency? Okay. training and recovery play the biggest roles. And, well, I mean, listen, it's a three-headed beast here. So we talk about nutrition, recovery, and obviously the activity, the workout. So if it's a low frequency, high weight workout, and you want to get strength gains, this is the way to do it, one. But what is going to drive that? And what really drives that is one, the fuel we put in the tank, and that's food. That's your nutrition, and making sure that is really on point. Me and Michael Hearn talk about this all the time, where, you know what, before training, people need to get nutrition on point, right? They need to get that disciplined in. They need to get recovery after training, but nutrition first. Activity second, recovery, and then at that point, sleeping, water. But sleeping is a part of recovery. That's why I put it in. So it's right in there. But it plays a major role. I think nutrition is one thing that a lot of people need to grasp and really get a hold of it and learn about it if they don't. And there's plenty of things on the internet where you can learn basic nutrition, macros. So if you don't know what a macro is, let's talk about it. Macro, we talk about fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. And each one of these has a calorie count of each, right? And you break this down to what you be eating per day. Now, before all of this, just start eating better. That's the first step. Then learning exactly how many calories we have on this. And there's so many apps out there where you can just take a picture of whatever kind of food it is, and it already knows the calories of it. It's crazy. So if you want to document, you can. If you can't, you don't want to do it and you just want to weigh it out, you can do it on that, like on a food scale, you can do that. But then you start learning how to do that. But eat better. That means better food sources, better food. Start with that. Stop not overeating. Do 3 meals a day to start. Then you can increase it for the metabolism release boost. I don't like people when they don't know what they're doing to go, I'm eating 6 meals a day. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay. It's something you need to work up into. It's all about tearing up and tearing down in this effect to get really overall better results, in my opinion. And some people might have different opinions, and that's what's the great thing about this world. Everybody can have them. All right, so Matt Nicole said, are there any specific exercises or muscle groups that respond better to low-frequency training? Now, this really comes down to, I think, Matt, and like I said, everybody might have a different opinion about this, but this really comes down to you, because different people have different muscles that respond in different ways, I guess, better or worse. So if you have a specific body part that you know that you don't train as much and it really starts, gaining a lot more than other body parts that you're like, damn, I'm putting some work in, I'm really not seeing the results. For some people, it's chest. For some people, it's arms. For some people, it's calves. So I would say it really depends on you. But, are you really trying to target? I would flip this around to you and ask you this question. What muscle group are you trying to grow bigger? And is that a problem for you to grow and train with low frequency? Because I think, listen, arms on low frequency. I think chest, if you do it properly on low frequency. There's an article that I was going to talk about today that talks about low frequency, it's basically low frequency training as far as you train 1 day a week, 7 different things. You do 1 set for as many as you can do, burnt out, right? To muscle failure. So, and it was really crazy because it showed that you would improve strength gains just by that. And this was a crazy article that I was reading in Men's Health. And I'm always like trying to debunk some of the things that they put out there because some of it I don't really agree with. But if it's a study, and even studies, you got to look at studies and you say, all right, was this a controlled environment as far as, hey, listen, they had, how many participants did they have? The more the better. And how long of a time were these participants studied? So these participants were studied over 7 years and it was like almost 15,000 participants studied. And it showed this for these participants. So it was a huge response. So I think that's really cool. So let me flip it to you. What are you trying to train? And I'll just answer your question. You got to say it. If you're really trying to grow another body part, you would train that muscle group a second time in that week. Add it into one of your trainings. It's because you want a day off. I'm not going to say, hey, listen, just do 7 days a week and do that on your 7th day. I would definitely take a day off. They say in between 2 to 3 days. You should take 1 day in between. That's optimal. But really what works for you. And if you've been on this planet, like I'm 43, right? I know now what works for my body, what doesn't, how it responds, what it does. And I can really, mold it to what I want to do. For some people, they don't know that. They don't know that about themselves yet, or they've never been to a level where they've taken themselves, where they know what works, they know how to do this, and it's a little tougher for them. So, I would say start training a little bit more and get your nutrition on point. So 150 pounds 2 years ago, currently 180, slowly but surely. That's a good step. That's a really good step from 150 to 180. And listen, you're still young, right? You really won't start getting that man strength till in your 30s. Your 20s, you still don't get it. I always wondered about that. I'm like, when am I really going to get this old man strength they talk about? And you get it. You get it like in your I would say 35 is when I was like, damn, man, like, I'm really starting to feel it. Even the pictures reflect, like, because I've been doing this for 12 years, so this has been documented, everything I've been doing for 12 years. And the body changes and all the whole nine. So you guys can see some of the different pictures if you check my social media out, or you check Titan social media out. And just go all the way back, Facebook or Instagram. Dr. Cooper, superb, 100% Titans. I appreciate it. You are smart enough. I appreciate it. Hey, buddy, love from the UK. Big shout out, Phil. Love for you too, bro. Christian, love from Canada. Thank you, guys. Worldwide. I like it, guys. I like it. Big hearts from Jared. Appreciate it. Jose Hernandez. John, you're one of the most people that inspire me to do more and to be great, and love the staff and your staff. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Jose, man. I appreciate it, man. I'm proud of you and all the other Titans out there, man, that are doing it, and Titanettes, and the supporters. But I'm really proud of the Titan patients, because I hear about some of these different stories from them and what they've accomplished, and it's just awesome, because I would say, 80% of the people I talk to, they have such a great experience, and things just keep getting better. So, I like to check in with patients, and I love, even if they're not patients and they've already hit their goals and they've kind of want to do their thing. And I was like, all right, cool. Keep me in contact, man. I love it. I'm not mad or anything like that. Please, you still be a Titan without being a patient. So it has nothing to do with that. Is this a TRT class? No, but we're talking about any questions that have to do with hormone replacement therapy, TRT, peptides, vitamin amino acid injectables, libido enhancers for both males and females too as well, blood work, and all these services are nationwide. So if you've ever been thinking about this or want to talk about how to get weight loss, or maybe things that just aren't as good as they used to be, we can do blood. We can set you up with a consultation nationwide. So I'm just here answering questions. Do you recommend specific diets or different blood types? So we don't recommend really diets. We don't have a dietitian or a nutritionist on staff. But we can point you some directions for some people that can write diets for you. But we're more complimentary of the medical side and helping you out in that way. What's the best way to get a six-pack? Get lean, Donald, get lean, right? And then at that point, when we talk about abs, everybody says, abs are made in the kitchen. And I got to agree. Abs, majority, show by you in the kitchen. So at that point, what I'm trying to say here is, just because you have a perfect diet does not mean you're going to have abs. You can have a flat board stomach, but you're not going to have abs. So with abs, like any other muscle group in the body, except one thing, and I'll tell you that in a second, abs need to be worked out. You need to train abs. Now, there's a whole bunch of different exercises you can do for abs. If your back's bad, you can do some different variations of these things. If it's not, you're young, you're doing sit-ups and you're doing incline sit-ups. I do that with a weight. That's kind of what you need to do. You need to train abs, and you don't need a weight to start off. Just start doing the motions, leg raises. If you can only do one or two, start there. The other great thing about abs and calves, you can train them every single day. Now, you may not want to, because the day before you might have trained them hard as hell and you're sore as hell and you can't do it. And you're like, oh, you can try. Try it. It's not going to kill you. And if it does, I feel bad for you, but it's not going to kill you. But if you start doing that, it really does help get rid of that lactic acid that's stored in there and that soreness. But if you need to take a day off in between, do that. But you can train abs at least three times a week. Do it. You guys will see great results from training abs. I promise you, Donald, for sure. That is one thing that I would recommend. That's one thing that I had before I got a little bit bigger, was I always have abs. I was always in shape. I was a big-time runner, and I ran in all the different sports that I played, from basketball to baseball, football, and the whole nine. But I was coming up before high school. It was like cross country. I would run in between, all these different sports I was playing, and I loved to run. It wasn't until I got down here to Florida, and I was like, you know what? Like I was talking to some big-time bodybuilders, and I was like, man, you got to back off the running because your body's going to adapt, and it totally made sense to me. Use it or lose it type deal. And even if you're weight training, doesn't mean that you're going to stack on that muscle and keep it on, because you're going to be burning when you're running like that. And my nutrition wasn't on point like it is now, and the whole nine. So so I stopped doing cardio like that. And obviously, you can stack on more weight like that for sure, 100%. And it was lean mass too; it wasn't just fat. So that was a good thing. But yeah, that's my running thing. So it's been over, but I can still run. Can beginners achieve strength gains with once a week training, or is the approach more suitable for experienced lifters? So this was done on just regular people that went in there for 7 years, but they were consistent. So, I like the study, but I think that somebody needs more exercise per week than one time. I would expect somebody to at least do 2 to 3 times, and 3 should really be the minimum. And I'm not talking about you have to go, balls out like training, and it could be for 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be for an hour, but I would like to get an hour. And at that point, even with, what the government recommends for your training, how much you should be doing and stuff like that, that's what it usually stacks up to be. So I think if you did 2 or 3 days a week, you'd be a lot healthier. You'd feel a lot better. You'd be able to retain more muscle mass. And as we get older, you want to gain as much muscle mass as possible, because as you get older, it will be harder to put on that muscle mass. And I'm not talking about you have to be a bodybuilder, but, good muscle, right? Good muscle, lean mass. All right, Dave said, I started at 215. I'm 203 today. Goal is to be at 170. Currently on tirzepatide and AOD. I've always trained and do my cardio, but I only worry I'm losing fat, muscle, since my food is a lot less. I know. So listen, this is very, very cool. You've lost that much weight, 12 pounds, and we're on our way to 170. Now, listen, you might lose a little bit of muscle on this journey, depending on how quick we get there. Now, listen, I really want to try to get the protein in, please. Are you drinking shakes? Try to drink the shakes. Try to drink some mass gainer shakes if you need to get the calories in. Don't go too crazy, but, make sure, because you can measure that out. You can be like, all right, cool, I need to get 1,000 calories in. Let me get the 1,000 in. And then if you drink the 1,000 and, you can only eat like maybe 1 or 2 small more meals a day, then do it. If it has to be a liquid diet, do it. Whatever you can do for protein, do it, okay? A little bit of fiber too, like an apple if possible or something like that. That would be awesome. Dope, my guy. Appreciate it, Purely. And Slim Fitness says, hey, John, how does nutrition and recovery play a role in strength gains when training with low frequency? So this was a question asked before. So at that point, listen, nutrition recovery play number one, like a central role in training, especially with low frequency if you want to get strength gains. So at that point, get your nutrition on point, get your recovery on point. And recovery can be a number of different things. One thing is sleep. You recover when you sleep. Your body revitalizes, rejuvenates, and repairs itself when you sleep. The other thing is you could possibly do the cold plunges if you like that. You could do jacuzzis, Epsom salt baths, massage guns, massage, stretching, cryo. There's so many different things. Hyperbaric tanks, pods. There's so many crazy things. Bobby asks, can you address the banning of peptides, or is it another show? LOL. Bobby, I could definitely address this. It is not a show. It's not a joke. Not all peptides, but some of the better peptides, the healing peptides like BPC 157 and TB 500, are going away. Now, there is a substitute for BPC 157 that they just changed a little bit of it. And same thing, same family, does the same stuff, but MK is going away. CJC, AOD. Now, CJC, you do testosterone. Testosterone's going to be way better. Now, they're going to have Semirelin and Hexerelin too. That's another one that you'll be able to have, but they are going away. So at that point, the pharmacy, when I've talked to them, and there's only 2 pharmacies in the whole United States that I know that are doing this. Now, I heard some other pharmacies are going to try, or some other labs are going to try to start doing this with the FDA's grant. I don't know if that's going to go through. So I'm just being very transparent to you. But, as it reads and what they're doing right now, going after the pharmacies, it doesn't look like we got too long. So the pharmacies told me 2 to 3 weeks, month, maybe 2 months. They're like, listen, I would just tell you guys to get them now. And at that point, stock up because it is what it is. The ones that work, of course, they will ban them. Sucks, man. I know you guys will have to stay on. I know you guys will stay on it, though. That's why I'm with the Titan family. Absolutely. I'm definitely staying on it, dude. So I had one lab reach out to me, and I'm just trying to find out the legalities of this. And it's not some research chemical site. It's for human use, the whole nine. But I just want to make sure, it is what it is. But the pharmacies that we're dealing with, luckily, like I said, there's good ones. And like BPC 157, the substitute is a good one. I've been taking it. Right now, I told you guys I'm always going to take these things and try them before you guys do, so I make sure it's good. And it is what it says because, I'm not going to come out here and say, oh, yeah, this is really good and never even try it. And not even be honest about it. It's just crazy because I know people that do that. But, yeah, we're with it. I appreciate Bobby so much. Thank you for trusting us with your health, and we're here for you, and I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Why online do you find SU? I don't know what that means. Why online do you find such a wide range of costs for things like peptides, TRT, and other therapies? Well, when we talk about peptides, usually when people type in peptides, Marco, they get research and chemical sites. And when they go on these sites, it's like $50, $20, whatever it is. Now, when you get these vials, it says non-human consumption, not for human use. So these aren't even supposed to be sold to the public like that. They just are. And these are things that come in from China to somebody, and then they just ship them out to you. That's what it is. So, I wouldn't trust that. Now, TRT and other things, there's catches and hooks, right? And I'm just very transparent about what we do, and I'm very transparent about the pricing. And some people in a lot of businesses, they're not. And this goes for a lot of different industries. Think about phone plans and all that. Hey, $99 to start. When you get there, there's an activation fee, there's this, there's that, and it just adds up. And you're like, damn, I thought it was gonna be $99. This is like $300, right? And you just kind of hit blindsided by that. You're like, oh man, I don't really feel as good about what this was. Then you start doubting kind of what else is going on. So that's what you see. I see the $99 for TRT. $99. What is $99 gonna get you? And usually $99, you might get a bottle, but that's all you get. And then let's get in contact with them again. Any support? You ain't reaching back out to you, huh? Or you're not getting the necessary components. But the real fact of it is that you're not getting serviced properly and you're not getting monitored properly, which ultimately, what's a couple more bucks if you know somebody is there for you, going to make sure you're monitored and staying on track. Any one of our patients that are on here, Marco, and I don't know if you are one, but any one of our patients are on here. And at that point, they should be able to tell you, and if you're a patient, you should know, we're going to get in contact with you. We're going to make sure you're doing the right thing. We want to make sure you're healthy. So that is a great peace of mind, right? And I price checked places out there. One, we have the most inexpensive blood work, the most inexpensive semaglutide, tirzepatide programs, and HRT. I would say we are right there, very competitive with everybody out there because everybody adds on the things, or you're not getting the things that we're giving you. So that's just where it is. James said, my favorite ab exercise is the full range crunch on stability ball. That is actually a really good one, and it's good for the back and everything beyond the stability ball. And it helps with those stabilizing muscles too as well. If anybody's not been on a stability ball, go put your back on and put your legs down on the ground. See if you wobble off. Because, if you haven't done it, you kind of get the balance. I better get on this and start getting that balance back. Which of your products would best help a 57-year-old man lose body fat? Tirzepatide or semaglutide? That's going to be your number one. But at 57, I would check your hormones. I would do a blood test and get that dialed into as well. Because one, it would help you retain more lean muscle mass if you're on semaglutide and tirzepatide. It'd help you feel better, more energy. It'd help boost metabolism and complement those therapies too as well. And I think you'd be really, really good. So the BP alternative will be available. Absolutely, AJ. It will be available. I've been taking it for the last 3 to 4 weeks. Been working great with me. So at that point, I'm very comfortable with it. And like I said, same thing. If you look up online, BPC 157 or this name of this, it's the exact same thing when it comes up on Google. All Concentrate said, thanks, boss. Trying. How long rest would you recommend for recovery after intense training? What to take? So I would take at least 1 day in between, right? At that point, if you're young, right, even if you're old or whatever, and you're not taking anything, what supplements would I take? I would definitely be taking some sort of branched chain amino acid, and I would take another one, and that would be for people for semaglutide, tirzepatide. If you're on those drugs, branched chain amino acids, those essential amino acids are key to hopefully retain that muscle when you go in that calorie deficit. But the other one would be creatine. That has got a lot of studies on it. Creatine, 5 milligrams a day, great for brain function, muscle, all different types of health benefits. So I think that'd be a good one to take for sure. And then obviously you want to get your protein, your nutrition on point and get that all dialed in. If you have to add calories in, you know how to do that because you've been gaining weight. And hopefully it's really good lean mass that you've been occurring. And you just keep on that path, man. You're doing good. What are the potential drawbacks or limitations of training only once a week, and how can they be mitigated? Drawbacks, you're not training enough. If you're only training once a week, and you're not wanting to get strength gains or anything like that, it wouldn't be that bad, I guess. Help mitigate it, I definitely get your nutrition on point. That would be what I would do if you're only training once a week. Nutrition over everything. I'm already with Titan, John. Very happy so far. Oh, okay. Marco. So, yeah, but yeah, so that is the deal. That really is the deal, man. We're very transparent, and a lot of places aren't. And at that point, when you get hooked, then you're hooked, and you got to go along with the ride for a month, or some places sign you for contracts 3 to 6 months. So it's just really crazy, the environment of what we do. And we've been around, I would say, we're one of the oldest clinics out there. If you start looking at how long, 12 years coming up on, not a lot of places were around 12 years ago. That's for damn sure. Austin, what's going on? John, how you doing? Carmelo Tamara, what's going on? Beaverin, what's going on? What do we have another ones? Oh, any more questions for me, guys? Man, this has been a good talk so far. It's been flying by. Big Rod, my dude, man. I hope you are feeling better each day, bro. He said, and Rod, so Rod had to get a fusion in his neck. He's got he got cut. There's a big cut on his back from his neck all the way down to his back and stuff like that. And obviously, not just the cut, but internally what they had to do to his spine and his neck. So he's been taking these peptides. Thank God we could get him those peptides. And he said the peptides are working very well. So, Rod's going to be back full 100%, 110% recovery. And I can't wait to see him back, man. I miss you, Rod, and I hope all is well, bro. All right. Gavin, what's going on? Thanks for the information. You're very welcome. And I think that's about it, guys. I think I'm going to leave it at that. All right. So next week, we've got Tampa Bay Swim Week fashion shows going on. Friday and Saturday at the West Shore Grand. Titan Medical Center presents Tampa Bay Fashion Week and Swim Week. So at that point, we are going to be there on site, and we will be one of the top designers there. So you're going to see all different kinds of cool fashions coming. And if you guys aren't here, don't worry. I'm going to have video for you guys so you guys can check it out on our platforms. So I appreciate all of you guys joining me for Titan Lifestyle. And usually it's with me and Big Drew. So big shout out to my brother, Drew. I hope he's feeling better. I hope he's getting some rest. And he'll be back with us next week. So I'll see you guys. I actually won't be here probably. Oh, I might be here right before. I have this fashion show, so I might not be here next week. Drew might not be here next week. We might have to do it off-site. We never know where we're going to do these things. So we'll see you next week. We got one more question. What's the usual amount of time to feel results from BP? I site inject to the Dell. All right, so usually what I tell people is usually when you inject, usually it will help take the inflammation away from the area. It might feel a little bit better, but it's going to take, 6 to 8 weeks usually is what it is and to heal, just depending on what's going on, right? Was it a tear? We just don't know. So at that point, let me know of kind of what it is, and maybe we can kind of give you a better time schedule on that. But usually 6 to 8 weeks. Test boosters any good for young guys like me in their mid-20s? I'd stay away from them, bro. Stay away from test boosters. Ashwagandha, I'll talk that stuff in the ground all day long. Don't do it. Don't do it at all. Don't do SARMs. Do Hercules potion if you want to do something, and get a little boost out of it. I would do maybe like MK or IGF-1 or something along those lines if you really want to get some good results without really messing with your testosterone functions. Don't want to mess with that, man, especially if they're good. So blood test for sure. Catarina, you're dope, man. I appreciate it. And that's it, guys. So I'll see you next week. Gray Bills, I appreciate it. With another Titan Lifestyle with me and Big Drew when he's here. So we'll see you next week. I appreciate all you guys. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube page. Ton of full-length videos over there you guys have probably never seen. Educational videos. Injection videos of how to inject Hercules potion, how to spot inject Hercules potion, chest, arms, everywhere. Injections, got you covered. Medication doses, I've covered some of those too. And a whole bunch of other cool content. So go subscribe. Plus, we got a podcast. You guys can't watch us. You guys can listen to us, whether you're on the road, whether you're training, or whether you're just cleaning the house, or doing whatever you want to do. All right? So I'll see you next week. Titan Lifestyle.